All right. The January 13th, 2026 School Board regular meeting is called to order. Thank you to Principal Tracy Anderson for hosting the board meeting here at William Fleming tonight. Mrs. Tresky, please call the roll.
Mr. Cherry.
Here.
Mr. Link. Dr. Jamison. Ms.
Here.
Here.
Miss Trigg.
Here.
Mrs. Watkins. Mrs. Apel.
Here. The board is asked to approve the request from Dr. Eli Jamison to participate in the meeting remotely by electronic communication means. Is there a motion to approve the request from Dr. Eli Jamison to participate in the meeting remotely by electronic communication means? Moved by Mr. Cherry. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Trigg. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Those opposed say, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say no. All right, and the motion passes. So welcome Dr. Jamison participating via electronic means. Thank you to all of those attending the meeting in person and those that are joining us via the RCPS YouTube channel. Next is the approval of the agenda. Please note that the agenda has been amended to include the addition of a closed meeting. Is there a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended?
So move.
Moved by Ms. Quintana, seconded by Ms. Trigg. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. And the motion carries. The agenda is amended to include the closed meeting. Please keep the following in your thoughts. Family, friends, and coworkers of Mrs. Betty Jean Miller, Miss Betty, a beloved bus monitor on her passing. Family, friends, and former coworkers of Ms. Charlotte McCauley, a dedicated elementary teacher with 30 years of service, on her passing. Family, friends, and former coworkers of Alfred Al Steele, retired teacher with over 30 years of service, who taught at Jameson School, West Side, Preston Park, Oakland, Breckenridge, and James Madison. Family, friends, and coworkers of Mr. Chad Duncan, building manager at West Side, on his passing. And let us send many, many thoughts of care, love, and support to the entire West Side Eagles community for their loss of both Mr. Duncan and a student recently. May they feel the strength and comfort from family, friends, and our entire caring community. Please join me in a moment of silence. Okay, and please rise and join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let us move on to recognitions. Mr. McKee, would you please do us the honor of presenting the recognition of the 2026 Teacher of the Year?
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, Ms. Apel, Vice Chair, Mr. Cherry, members of the board, student representatives, Dr. White. The Mary V. Bicuvarius Virginia Teacher of the Year program celebrates educators who exemplify excellence in teaching across the Commonwealth of Virginia and the nation. This program provides school divisions with the opportunity to honor outstanding teachers who make a lasting impact on students and communities. Nominees are evaluated using criteria established by the Council of Chief State School Officers, the CCSSO, which include demonstrates experience, expertise in their field, and guides students of all backgrounds and abilities to achieve excellence, collaborates with colleagues, students, and families to foster a school culture of respect and success, building meaningful connections between the classroom and key stakeholders to strengthen the broader community, establishes leadership and innovation both inside and outside the classroom, embodying lifelong learning, communicates in an engaging and articulate manner. On Tuesday, November 8th, during an awards dinner at the Hotel Roanoke, Casey Manns was named the Roanoke City Public Schools Teacher of the Year for the 2026-27 school year. In recognition of her achievement, ESS awarded her $1,000. So I would like to ask Ms. Manns to join me. Ms. Manns is a dedicated math teacher at James Breckenridge Middle School, where she has taught for 11 years. She holds a bachelor's degree in mathematics from Radford University, master's degree in interdisciplinary studies mathematics specialist from Virginia Commonwealth University, a certificate in educational leadership from Radford University. Administrators, teachers, and students share the following reflections. Ms. Manns exemplifies educational excellence as a teacher leader, team leader, and department chair. She fosters strong student relationships, leads impactful mentor meetings, and consistently applies high-quality instructional practices. Her visionary approach aligns with school goals while adapting to individual student needs. As a middle school math teacher, Ms. Manns plays a critical role in building a strong academic foundation for her students. She uses creative strategies to engage learners, incorporating students into math problems, encouraging peer learning through interactive activities, and focusing on the why and how behind every answer. What truly distinguishes Ms. Manns is her unwavering care, respect, and belief in every student. Her classroom radiates joy, engagement, and mutual respect, creating a safe space for students to take risks, explore challenging ideas, and grow academically and personally. Ms. Manns believes in her students. Even when something is hard, she encourages them to help them believe in what they can do. She is patient and explains concepts in ways that make sense to each and every student. No matter how long it takes, she stays with them until they fully understand. The Roanoke City School Board is proud of all of our incredible teachers. A special thank you to our Teacher of the Year sponsors, ESS, Alliant Insurance Services, and Hughes Associates Architects and Engineers. Now, I've said a mouthful, so what we want to do is pause and show a brief video. And then you can talk.
All right, so I'm going to pull a card. This person's gonna come up and model just the expression. We're not gonna do anything extra with it. You're just going to use my magnet tiles right here, and you're gonna place it on there, okay? I have been working for Roanoke City for 11 years, and all of those 11 years I've been at James Breckenridge. We have 1, 2, 3 X's, and then he added our 2 positives, all right? I love it here. It feels like home. I love the community that we work with. So all of the years that I've been in education, it's been with Roanoke City. All right, Chris, you got this. Well, when I first started teaching, I actually had my heart set on doing calculus. And I remember during my student teaching, we had to do a middle school placement and a high school placement. And I just got connected immediately, day 1 of the middle school placement that I had. And I was like, maybe this is something for me. A trick with this is you just multiply your numbers here. So 3 times 1 we know would be a 3. But because we have a positive and a negative based off of what we discovered last week, we know that a positive times a negative is always going to result in a negative. Very good. At the end of the day, when I'm teaching, I don't think about becoming Teacher of the Year. Just to be able to be recognized for this is a blessing. It's humbling, and I could go on and on and on. So think of Bippity Boppity Boo from Cinderella, fairy godmother, right? Okay, Bippity Boppity Boo. We're gonna change those into a positive 2. When it comes to your classroom environment, your students have to trust you. They don't want to feel like they are being targeted or, let down or as a failure. That has always been my #1 goal when students step into my classroom, that they just feel comfortable enough with me to make a mistake. Like 110% confident that it is 12.
Yeah. I think.
Really?
Yeah. I'm gonna count one more time. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
Yeah, you're right. You just got to be confident in your work. You got this. Lower this, I'm a little bit shorter. Good evening, members of the school board, superintendent, administrators, colleagues, friends, and family. I'm incredibly honored and grateful to stand before you all tonight as Teacher of the Year for Roanoke City Public Schools. This recognition is deeply meaningful to me because every year of my career in education, like I've said before in the video, has been with Roanoke City. This division is not just where I teach, it's where I've grown, I've learned, and been shaped into the educator that I am today, and I am so incredibly grateful for the opportunity that Roanoke City has provided for me. This honor truly does not belong to me alone, though. I owe so much to my colleagues, my mentors, coaches, and administrators that I've had the privilege of working alongside throughout the years. Your guidance, encouragement, and the belief in me, sometimes even before I fully believed in myself, have made a huge impact both professionally and personally. I share this recognition with all of you that have poured into my life and into my work. At the heart of my teaching philosophy is the belief that students learn best when they feel safe. As you guys could see in the video, I yearn for mistakes. I want every student to feel comfortable and vulnerable enough where they have a safe place to make those mistakes and learn from those. I strive to create a classroom where mistakes are encouraged, growth is celebrated, and improvement is highlighted and celebrated. Every student has a voice, and it's our responsibility to meet them where they are, to listen, and to help build their confidence, not only in the classroom, but also out of the classroom. Thank you, Roanoke City Public Schools, for this incredible honor, and thank you for your continued commitment to our students and educators. I am proud to be a part of this division, and I'm deeply thankful for the opportunity to serve its students every single day. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Wonderful job. That's for you. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations. And thank you for those words.
Excellent work.
First class.
Congratulations, Casey. It's great.
Next, I would like to invite Mr. Eric Lear to please come forward and introduce the recipient of the Junior Achievement 2025 Student of the Year Award.
Yeah.
Good evening, Chair Apel, Dr. White, and members of the school board. It's a pleasure being here tonight. I'm most happy to introduce you to an exceptional student who attends William Fleming High School and also the Charles W. Day Technical Education Center, Mr. Andre Chapman. That's right.
Sorry, I know him.
Come on up here, bud.
So he's one of my favorites.
Recently, I asked his entrepreneurship teacher, Ms. Joy Clark, and his marketing teacher, Ms. Sharon Kojo, to provide me with the words that describe Andre. They easily provided me with the following: self-motivated, responsible, kind, diligent, prepared, caring, and forward-thinking. He is the kind of person who takes the initiative and succeeds in everything he attempts. Junior Achievement of Southwest Virginia agrees. Andre was recently selected as Junior Achievement's 2025 Student of the Year. In speaking with Ms. Garnett, she said it was because of his entrepreneurship, his driving force. I am happy to present to you Andre Chapman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to say thank you for this award. I like taking pride in what I do, like at work. I work with kids and I get the chance to lead them to what they want to accomplish in life.
And in the school and me and being in entrepreneurship and marketing, I get to take that chance of taking what I learned in school and pushing it towards the kids that I work with. And that's my why.
Thank you. Please come forward so that the board can shake your hand and present you with the plaque. Huh? Oh.
Congratulations.
Also joining us tonight in recognizing Andre is Carrie Garnett, President of Junior Achievement of Southwest Virginia. The school board would like to recognize several staff members whose actions demonstrated exceptional leadership and care during 2 recent community incidents. Dr. White, will you please introduce these staff members and highlight the courageous actions that they demonstrated?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Madam Chair. Every day, RCPS staff go above and beyond to care for our students and our community. On 2 separate occasions this fall, 3 members of our RCPS family demonstrated calm leadership, quick thinking, and a deep commitment to student and community safety during unexpected and stressful situations. During the afternoon drop-off at John P. Fishwick Middle School on November 19th, 2025, longtime bus driver Marjorie Crawley encountered a crime in the community moments after it occurred. Acting immediately and out of an abundance of caution, Mrs. Crawley kept students calm and safe, drove them to a safe location, notified dispatch, and returned to the school when it was safe to proceed. Her steady response helped students feel protected during a frightening moment. This is not the first time Mrs. Crawley has remained calm under pressure, and her care for her students reflects the very best of RCPS. That same quick thinking and commitment to safety was also demonstrated by 2 additional employees on a separate day. On the morning of October 21st, 2025, School Security Officer Robert Stewart and Student Support Specialist Vivian Sanchez-Jones stopped to help at a scene of a food truck explosion several blocks from Patrick Henry High School while traveling to work. Mr. Stewart was first on the scene and immediately called 911, provided care to 2 injured individuals who were in shock, moved them to a safe location, and stayed with them until first responders arrived. He then contacted Ms. Sanchez-Jones, who responded right away to provide multilingual support and assist families by sharing critical information during a very difficult time. Today, it is my honor to recognize Mrs. Crawley and Mr. Stewart and Mrs. Sanchez-Jones with the Superintendent's Challenge Coin. The tradition of challenge coins comes from military service and honors individuals who demonstrate extraordinary dedication, courage, and leadership. In that same spirit, the Superintendent's Challenge Coin represents our We Are One commitment and theme. This coin is not given lightly. It is reserved for those who step up when it matters most, when people work together, and when we put safety first and the well-being of others first. You each embody what it means to serve in Roanoke City Public Schools. We are grateful for your professionalism, compassion, and steady leadership, and we are proud to have you as part of our team. And I'll ask you to please come forward. Mrs. Crawley, Mr. Stewart, and Mrs. Sanchez-Jones, come on forward so that we can present the challenge coin to you.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you. Ahora ya sabes, felicidades. Congratulations. Thank you.
Stay close. If you stay close, we'll get a picture.
Yeah, stay close. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
She's gonna take it with them, just her.
Let's fall in, y'all.
Yes, come in, John.
Here, I can keep squeezing.
Getting close, close, close. Oh.
On tippy toes.
Thank you.
I would just like to say thank you to the school board, to Dr. White, to Mr. Chris Perkins, and Mr. Archie Freeman. I just want to let you all know that without the support of these people, we would really be lost, and we can never forget Mr. Walter Dowdy. He steps up at every situation that we have. Anytime we have anything going on, he's right on top of it. And I just want you all to know that I really appreciate every one of you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Continuing with our favorite portion of the evening, we have more recognitions. Dr. White, please tell us about the beautiful holiday cards and the students who drew them.
Absolutely. All right, let me make sure that I have. Okay. Each year, I select student artwork to use as the division's holiday greeting card. And the board and I, we're pleased to recognize 3 recipients of the holiday card contest. First, we have student Kalani Pinnell. She is from first grade. She's a first grader at Hurt Park Elementary School. Her art teacher is Miss Joanne Sakamoto. So come on up.
Yes. Oh, look how beautiful. I love your dress.
So pretty. Yes, ma'am. That's how you
That's
show
right,
up.
that's right. Come on. Give him a hand, it's okay. Oh, amazing, congratulations.
Oh, very good.
Award. And then this is a framed version
May
of
I
your
show everyone?
artwork.
I'm going to show everybody your artwork. Look at
This
that.
is the original that she made. Great
That's so beautiful. You did a great job. Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
That was my holiday card.
Great job.
Thank you. We also have a operations department holiday card, and that goes to Raymond Kata, who is a second grader at Preston Park Elementary School. An art teacher is Miss Elizabeth Day. Come on up. Mr. Fisher, are you accepting? Okay, very good, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
May I see that one?
Thank you, Mr. I was gonna say,
Yes.
oh, wow.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I love it.
And we also have from our Fine Arts Department holiday card, Audrey Heights, fifth grader at Wasena Elementary School, under art teacher, Miss Sarah Duran Ballin, and I believe Marina Seal, principal Wasena, is here to accept on their behalf. Let's take a look at that. Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have such talented students in Roanoke City Public Schools. Thanks again, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Johnson and students. We will continue with our recognitions. Mrs. Patty Atkinson, Director of Athletics, Health and Physical Education, could you please come forward and introduce our athletes for the athletic recognitions?
Thank you, Mrs. Appel. Thank you, school board members, our student advisory, Dr. White, thank you for having us here. We are so excited about the season that we had both at Patrick Henry and at William Fleming, with both programs providing great entertainment for our city, great sportsmanship, and everything we could ask from them. So we're very proud of what they have accomplished. At this time, if Lee Johnson could come up and go ahead and introduce our PH award winners.
Thank you, Chairman, Ms. Apel, school members, Superintendent Dr. White, and Student Advisory, and everybody else who's here. It's a pleasure to stand up and honor our student athletes anytime we get a chance to. In this situation, this is student athletes who went above and beyond. And I've been up here before, and I've said how hard it is to get all region and all state in Group 5A, being on the western side of the state. And we certainly, in my personal opinion, at both schools, I think we have more athletes who should get recognized, but we're working on that. So at this time, I would like to bring up Neve Murphy, her father, and Coach Hill. You saw Neve, you'll probably see her again at other recognitions. This is for cross country. She placed all Region 5C. She finished a career high 6th in the Group 5A state meet. Coach Braby couldn't be here tonight, but you know, an outstanding effort. And as I said, I think you'll see her again for the winter and spring as well. So congratulations.
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 Congratulations. Congratulations. Proud of you.
Congratulations.
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 I'm not sure if you've ever watched cross country, but I would have a hard time driving the cross country.
I know.
It's hard. Next, I would like to call up Angela McKenzie and Coach Scola. Angela placed first team all Region 5C in volleyball, and personally, I think it was probably or arguably the toughest region of volleyball in Group 5A. It was brutal. But for Angela to be recognized as first team, I think is just a tremendous honor. Coach Newman couldn't be here tonight. She's in Texas. Her daughter is graduating from Army boot camp, and she went down there to watch that, so I think that's excusable. But anyway, Angela, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Then finally in football, I would like to call up Cam Harrison Taylor. Well, not finally, I got one after that. Cam Harrison Taylor and his dad.
Good job.
Hey, long time no see.
Cam has quite a room full of trophies, I would think. He was named first team All Region 5C on both sides of the ball as a receiver and a defensive back. He also made All-State Group 5A to complete a stellar career here. I have to say I'm kind of jealous as a father of three. Mr. Taylor has had 2 get full scholarships, 1 to Penn State, and then 1 now. Cam is committed to Syracuse. So congratulations. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Amazing job.
Proud of you. Congratulations. Well done, sir. Congratulations. Well done, Dad.
Yeah, no kidding. I am jealous of that. But finally, Coach Adeline Fiddler could not be here tonight. Unfortunately, he's homebound with a severe migraine headache, which is not fun if any of you have those. But our football team this year did finish in the regular season 10-0. We were number one seed in the region, and he was awarded Coach of the Year for the River Ridge District. I think it was well-deserved, and I just wanted to recognize him. I know he couldn't be here, but I want to take just one last opportunity to thank you guys as a school board, as a central office administration. I'd like to also thank our school administrators. I've been in this line of work for 33, 34 years maybe, coaching, teaching, now an athletic director. I've been in many different school systems, but I've never been in one that supports student athletes the way Roanoke City does. And I just want to thank you for that, because we go into AD meetings and state meetings and we hear horror stories. And I can tell you, I know Jamie isn't here tonight, but I can speak for him in saying that we do not do without. And that's because of you. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We have a plaque for the coach.
I will get my picture taken now.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Unfortunately, today, Mr. Benera could not be here, so I said I'd be happy to take his role today. So if Coach Leftwich and Giovanni Gonzalez could please come and join me. The William Fleming football team had a great season this year. I had great enjoyment coming over and watching them play. My new role has allowed me to enjoy the pleasure of watching two incredible football programs and be able to see the difference and see how hard they work and how much at the end they're still Roanoke City kids who work hard together. They shake each other's hands, and you're just very proud of what they accomplish year in, year out. As I was talking with Coach back there, they've already started for next year. There is no break. They have the dead period and they have Christmas. So we can't tell you how much we appreciate the time and effort you put in to our program. And for that reason, Coach Leftwich this year was presented with the Blue Ridge District Coach of the Year Award.
Congratulations, Coach. Congratulations.
Good work, Tony.
Kamari Steelman was not able to be here tonight because he is representing the Colonels on the basketball court over at Northside. So he will, we will get his award for him, but he was first team all-district.
Do you want to take?
Yes, please. Running back and punt returner. He was the Blue Ridge District Offensive Back of the Year and the Blue Ridge District Offensive Play of the Year, and he was also first team all-region.
Wow.
And we have Giovanni Gonzalez here. He was first team all-district linebacker, excuse me. He was Blue Ridge District Defensive Back of the Year, the Blue Ridge District Player of the Year. He was first team all-region and second team all-state.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Great job. Well deserved.
Congratulations, proud of you.
Great job, sir. Congratulations.
It's excellent. Good work.
Mr. Bednarik asked me to thank the school board, the administration, all of his coaches, the players, the parents, and the fans for their support of the athletic teams at William Fleming. He's proud of their accomplishments, and he knows how well they represent William Fleming and the Roanoke City School. Thank you for everything you do for us.
Thank you, Ms. Atkinson. We will now continue with the personnel list. Is there a motion and a second to approve the personnel list as presented?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Cherry, seconded by Ms. Trigg, or Ms. Quintana. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. The motion carries. The personnel list is approved. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Cherry, seconded by Ms. Watkins. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. The motion carries. The consent agenda is approved. And we kick it off to Ms. Watkins to please tell us about the gifts that have been received by RCPS.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm excited to announce that Spirit of Life Church International provided a donation of toys and games with approximate value of $1,000 to the Hurt Park Winter Holiday Drive. Also, Modern Woodman Fraternal Financial West Virginia region provided a donation to the same effort, Hurt Park's Winter Holiday Drive, and their donation value was $1,500. And the Lions Club provided a pair of new socks to every single student at Hurt Park and provided a donation of food for the Hurt Park Winter Holiday Drive. The total value of the donation provided by the Lions Club was $1,000. And then I'm also really excited to report that Breakfast with Santa was a huge, overwhelming success. I was there. It was awesome. The students, the staff, Santa, Mrs. Claus, the food, just the overall engagement was fantastic. Donations totaled $10,800 with 8 donors giving $1,000 each, 4 donors giving $500 each, and then we had some other donors of over $200 each, totaling $10,800 to support our unhomed students. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Watkins. And on to citizen participation on agenda and non-agenda items. Mr. Cherry, do we have any signups for agenda or non-agenda items this evening?
Yes, we do. And I would like to read before we get started. The school board values open communication, and we look forward to receiving your comments. We encourage all participants to engage in civil discourse and ask that you keep your comments respectful in helping us achieve this goal. To ensure regular opportunities to address the board are available and that the board has time to conduct its business, up to 30 minutes is allowed for public comment at regular board meetings. Citizen comments offer an opportunity for the public to inform the board. The board and superintendent generally do not respond to comments made or questions posed. All individuals are urged to provide written copies of their comments or other material supporting their views to the clerk of the board, who will ensure dissemination to board members. Staff present at the board meeting and whenever possible will assist you with your inquiry. Please state your name for the record and state whether you reside in Roanoke City or not. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. Speakers may not cede their time to another individual. There is a light at the center of the podium. That light will turn yellow when you have about a minute left. Is Brett Lavelle. All right, you step forward to the podium. All right, and as soon as you begin, I'll start your time, and when the time is up, I'll let you know.
Perfect, thanks, sir. All right. Good evening, members of the board. I understand recommendations are optional. However, when a school system recommends material, I believe it's endorsing both the content and the values conveyed. These recommendations influence curriculum, classroom discussion, and how young children are introduced to complex topics. In our home, we teach kindness, respect, and empathy toward all people without focusing on race, sexual orientation, or similar topics. We believe that there will be an appropriate time to discuss injustices and discrimination of specific groups, but we do not feel kindergarten is that time. At 5 years old, learning should center on foundational values through age-appropriate stories, like the ugly duckling or the rainbow fish. Fairness and kindness can be taught without introducing explicit social, political, or sexual concepts, an approach that we believe would support early childhood development and respect family values of all cultures. Personally, I find the pace and nature of modern social and political topics overwhelming, and I do not believe a 5-year-old is emotionally or intellectually ready for these topics. Specifically, I do not feel it is age appropriate for kindergarten students to be introduced to sexual orientation or gender identity, activism-oriented messaging, or hysterically charged racial terminology. While reviewing the books recommended by Roanoke City Public Schools for kindergartners, I noticed that several of these titles, though well-intentioned, include social justice themes, terminology, and imagery that I do not believe is suitable for children of this age or appropriate for families of all cultures. While I respect the intent behind these materials, I have concerns about their use with 5-year-old students. To share a few passages of these that took me by surprise. LGBTQ, love who you choose, because love is true. Liberate your notions of limited emotions. Celebrate with pride. Are links to devotion. T is for trans, for trains, tulips, tractors, and tigers too. Trust in the true. The he, she, they that is you. If you've raised a child, you know children often repeat what they hear, sometimes at the worst possible moments. Imagine reading a book with my son, recommended by RCPS, that displays the terms such as Negro, so-called Negro, and hyper-descendant in large, bold print, only to hear those same words be repeated by a 5-year-old, probably at the worst time. I apologize if this example is uncomfortable, but if such language is considered appropriate in a book recommended for kindergarten students, it should be appropriate to acknowledge here as well. So again, I ask, what was wrong with recommending books that are clearly age appropriate for children of all cultures? Were Cat in the Hat, The Wheels on the Bus, or The Very Hungry Caterpillar somehow insufficient? My concern is not with teaching kindness, acceptance, or fairness. Those are values that are central in our home. Rather, it is about the age at which certain subjects are introduced and whether the public school system should recommend materials that move beyond foundational character development into social, complex, or political topics for our 5-year-old students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. On behalf of the school board, I do want to thank everyone for taking the time to speak to us. As we said earlier, we value the feedback of our community. Public input is important as we make decisions on behalf of all students in Roanoke City Public Schools. Dr. White, please provide the superintendent's updates.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone, again, and good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Cherry, members of the school board. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope our students and our staff had a wonderful winter break. We are excited to be back and look forward to soon beginning the third 9 weeks. So this evening, we're bringing forward several items for your information and consideration, including an update on the 26-27 budget, approval of the 24-25 true-up funding application, an update on a reappropriation request, an update on solar panels, the annual outsourcing report, and an update on the boundary study. Before we get to our agenda items, I would like to highlight a few items for the board and for the public's information. As we look ahead to staffing for the 26-27 school year, I want to make our teachers and staff aware that you should have received an email yesterday with instructions for submitting intent forms. All forms will be due back to Human Resources no later than Friday, January 23rd. Also, this week is Virginia School Principals Appreciation Week. And throughout the week, we are highlighting our amazing principals and program directors on social media. It has been wonderful to see the compliments that they receive from their current and former students, families, and colleagues. We truly have amazing administrators in RCPS, and I would like to take a moment to thank them for their dedication and commitment to providing high-quality instruction in a learning environment where we know each student's name, needs, and strengths. This is hard work, and our administrators rise to the call every day. So can you join me in thanking our principals and our school-based administrators for all that they do? Also, before winter break, we had the honor of hosting a special ceremony to unveil the Lucy Addison historical marker at the base of the Community Empowerment Center. And it was a very special day. It was a little cold out there, but it was a special day. Windy. It was a really very, very windy day, but it was a good day, good day. And we were so glad to have our city council, school board, alumni, and other special guests present to help us remember Lucy Addison's legacy. And I would like to thank the school board again for your support of our application to sponsor the historical marker and work to ensure that our city's full history is told. Finally, a special congratulations to D'Angelo Reynolds of William Fleming High School for being recognized in the Roanoke Magazine's 40 Under 40 list. Mr. Reynolds supports so many of our students through his work as a credit recovery specialist, head wrestling coach, and mentorship outside of school. And we appreciate all that you do for our CPS, and this recognition is very well deserved. So congratulations again to him. So to begin our report this evening, I'll ask our Chief Financial Officer, Kathleen Jackson, to provide an update on the 2026-2027 budget development process. Mrs. Jackson.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair, Mrs. Apel, Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. Terry, members of the school board, and Superintendent White. We are jumping into our process for developing next year's budget. I'll start off with a little bit of information on the current year because we're focusing on the revenue information that we have at this point today. So in December, we did get the state budget, which included what's referred to as the caboose bill, so updates to the existing current year budget, as well as the proposed budget for the next biennium. So did want to take a moment to talk about what was in that information related to the current year. And unfortunately, we are looking at potentially a decrease in funding compared to what we anticipated budgetarily, chiefly because, as you can see, we are estimating a decrease in our average daily membership compared to what we anticipated and what we used in budgeting. And as you know, most of our state funding is calculated based on a per pupil amount that's multiplied by that spring number. So that updated number there is an estimate, of course, but you can see that projected variance. So if that comes to fruition, we are looking at the potential of about a $3.5 million less in state funding than what we anticipated. I do want to also point out that included in that budget is an addition of funding for the state share of what is calculated as a 2% bonus that we would be expected to provide by the end of this year, as long as we can come up with the required local share to provide those funds. So that's just something to keep in mind, that is a piece of that was added. That's new, that is included in that caboose bill. Providing such a bonus would cost the division probably in the ballpark of about $3 million. So that would utilize those state funds, but also we would need to ensure that we had local funds available to come up with that difference. So that's something to keep in mind. It's on the table right now. So let me move into next year and look at what was included in the proposed state budget for funding of education specific to Roanoke City Schools. So as you can see here, we are continuing to look at a variance in our average daily membership, which does temper the impact of any increases in funding that are currently being looked at the state level, though we do still anticipate an increase. It's just fairly modest at this point. It's just under $2.7 million compared to our adopted budget for the current year. So most of the changes in that budget are formula-based through, I think we talked about re-benchmarking. That's sort of the natural process that the state goes through every 2 years to update their formulas with, they take into consideration inflation, raises that they've already helped support, that kind of thing, to update their base numbers. This budget does include the state share of a 2% raise in both years of the biennium. So while that is good news, that does carry with it a cost if we are going to be able to access those funds, which of this increase, just over $1.6 million is state funding that is specific to that expense. So we would qualify for those monies if we can provide that raise. So really the cost of that raise would sort of eat up the increase that we're looking at right now in potential state funding. So those are some some positives, but also some challenges that go along with that. I will note that this is just the beginning. This is the first shot at the next budget proposed by the governor, who is leaving office, and new administration is coming in shortly, and the General Assembly will pick this up and move forward with it. So there certainly will be changes of some kind. I do know that we are hearing sort of modest thoughts from the state level of revenue availability, though I will say a press release was just issued yesterday from the governor's office that indicated sort of record revenue growth for the month of December. So, hopefully perhaps that might adjust some of those revenue estimates that are used when the General Assembly gets a hold of the budget, and perhaps we'll see some improvements in funding of education. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that, and certainly keeping you informed as those updates come along and as the General Assembly does their work. Okay, so looking at local funding, we have received a draft of the revised funding procedure that the City of Roanoke is considering. We received that on January 6th. That does state that by January 15th of each year, we would receive a first look at what revenue we might be able to receive from the city. We actually did already get that, so that was very helpful. We received that yesterday. So you see here that at this point in the process, the initial estimate would propose an increase of just over $750,000 in local funding compared to the adopted budget for the current year. So that would put us just over $107.6 million in local funding from the local level. So the last kind of is a smaller piece of the budget, but the last kind of chunk of general operating revenue that we look at, we just kind of lump together and call other revenue. And the bulk of that, as you can see here, just have for your reference listed where we actually ended up last year. So what did that end up totaling? We were just over about 3.1 million. We budgeted 2.75. So under normal circumstances, I would probably say, hey, we should probably look at increasing our budget there. But of course, as you might not be surprised to hear, I will not be recommending that, because you see the largest area there is interest income off of funds that we have in the bank and in our investment accounts. And so much of that money is what we had to return to the city. So that's no longer sitting in our bank account, or will not be going forward. So we're going to have to make an adjustment there to make sure that we're accurately estimating any interest income going forward that would be usable for school purposes. So that's just something to keep in mind there. And so that's the revenue picture as we know it right now. And we do know it's going to change, but that's what we have at this point to start the process. So I will point out just where we go from here. We will certainly at the workshop at the end of the month provide any updates if we have any from any level on the revenue side, but we will focus the conversation there, starting to turn our attention to the expenditure side. And we always kind of try to break that up because it's a lot to talk about, a lot of information. So we'll focus our discussion at that meeting in 2 weeks on the personnel and benefits side of our costs. And then the next meeting, February 10th, we will have a public hearing before that meeting. And then we'll, again, provide any updates we might have on revenue and focus that discussion on the non-personnel type of expenditures and needs that we're seeing. So we will be prepared to provide ample opportunity to look at all the details and bring that to you for consideration and discussion. So that's where we are today, but I'm happy to take questions or comments.
First, thank you, Ms. Jackson, for that information. I will see if Dr. Jameson, since she's online and I don't want to forget that she's there, if you have any questions first for Ms. Jackson regarding budget development at this time.
I have no questions at this time, but thank you for the report.
Okay, thank you.
And on this side of the table, Ms. Quintana, any questions?
No, ma'am, no questions. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Trigg, Ms. Watkins?
No, I don't have any questions, but thank you for all your work.
Vice Chair, Mr. Cherry?
Thank you for the update. We'll keep our finger on the pulse.
I did want to note, put a pin in some of the numbers that you had in your presentation that referenced the fiscal year 25, 26. So when we look at the financial forecast, I'm curious to note how the change in average daily membership actual, where it's projected compared to where we had budgeted for, how that's accounted for in our financial forecast. But since that's for this year and you're going to report on that later on in our meeting, we can kind of talk about it there.
Okay.
And I am also curious if you know, or we may see it in the future, the other revenue category with that decrease from the fund balance funds returning back to the city's books. Do you know how much that's going to, what you think we should budget for that line item?
I don't have that number today. That is
Okay.
certainly something that we are looking into and doing some forecasting to make sure that we can bring that in to an appropriate level. So our accounting team is still kind of working through those numbers and looking at where we are. So we'll certainly bring that to you at a later meeting when we have those details.
Great. And then the last thing, I just wanted to make sure, if you can go back to your presentation, I just want to make sure that I fully understand what the current local revenue is and where that number came from, just so we're clear before we move on to looking at our expenses.
Sure.
Sorry.
You go back, I think so.
Or, yeah, okay, we'll be patient. It was up there. Next. Well, you might be able to say, I just wanted to make sure, so
Speak
it
to it.
was based on the draft policy or the current existing policy for the city, where we got the city revenue, the additional 750,000 on top of the 106 point?
That's based on the draft policy.
Okay, so, but that policy has not been voted on yet, but that is the draft policy that we've received from
Correct.
city council
Yes.
at this time. Okay,
Yes, thank
that's
you.
what I
That's
wanted to make
correct.
sure I was clear on. All right, thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Jackson. You might as well kind of stay right there. But before we get to our next agenda item, Mrs. Apel, I know that the school board has been corresponding with the city council on the next 3 agenda items. So would you like to provide an update on that correspondence before we get to those agenda items?
Yes, thank you, Dr. White. Yes, per our last school board meeting, the board took action by vote that we would send a letter of correspondence in regards to 3 particular items of note where the schools needed feedback or further information from the city. And those happen to be the next 3 line items on our agenda. So first up will be the 2024-25 true-up funding application update. And some of this information, if you'll forgive me, will be redundant because it will be part of the presentations in our agenda this evening. But I did want to note for the public that we did get a response to that on December 30, to that letter, that correspondence from council on December 30th. And at that time, we were made aware of the dollar amount that we were eligible to apply for, and that our application deadline for those eligible true-up funds was Friday, January 15th. Hence, the agenda item for us to take action today for a true-up application. Now, regarding and that we will discuss at length next. Regarding the second item, in a subsequent, which was regarding the appropriation request made by the school board back in October to address high school overcrowding, specifically for modulars, in a subsequent communication following City Council's meeting on January 5th, City Council informed the school board of their intentions regarding appropriation for the modulars, and Ms. Jackson again will further address this during agenda item 6C. In that communication, our CPS was also charged with responding to further requests, also by January 15th, which is Thursday. So school board members, you do have a draft of our RCPS response and feedback as requested by City Council. So if there's anything there that if you would just please make sure that you provide any further feedback before we go ahead and give our full replies to council. If you could give that feedback to the superintendent or myself by close of business tomorrow, that would be greatly appreciated so that we can ensure on-time response to City Council and their inquiries. The third item was regarding solar panels and the permits therein, and also per the mayor's letter back on December 30th. All the information requested had been submitted, reviewed, and approved, and Mr. Perkins can give us some further details about this in agenda item 6E this evening. So to that end, we will now talk about each of those three items themselves, and Ms. Jackson, I believe you're next.
Well, thank you. Yes, thank you for that introduction. And we'll start with talking about the application for the true-up. And I won't read through this, but the first slide in the presentation just has kind of quotes that portion of the current policy just for reference. So all of the information is in one place that provides for the process through which we, if there is money available at year end, wherein city revenues exceeded what was budgeted, that we are permitted to apply for up to 40% of that variance. So you see that there. And just a brief timeline. I know you just got a little bit of it from Mrs. Apel, but I'm going to go back a little bit further just to refresh your memory that we did start talking about this at the work session at the end of August and discussing what we might apply for. We didn't know the amount at that time, but certainly even then we're looking at modular classrooms, trailers at both high schools to provide a temporary stopgap until a more permanent solution to overcrowding could come about. As the top priority, though, we did discuss at that time that chances of any available amount for which we could apply to be enough for that project was probably unlikely, but nonetheless, we identified that as the top priority. In October, we shifted gears, again, given the need for moving quickly on that project and the unlikelihood of any amount from a true-up funding to be enough. We did request your permission, and you approved that we request reappropriation of funds that were formerly in the school's capital fund balance. We requested right around $8.3 million for that. So you heard of the next few dates from Mrs. Apel that we did hear. Just under $2.2 million is the amount we are permitted to apply for out of year-end true-up funding. And then the kind of shift in the City Council's thoughts of going ahead and combining that amount with a portion of the fund balance in our former capital fund to come up with $4.3 million to help support implementing those modulars. So just as a reminder, you've had this information before, so I won't belabor it, but this is kind of the breakdown of those costs of implementing modulars at both high schools. They estimated being over capacity about 400 students at Patrick Henry, about 300 at Fleming. So the numbers of classrooms that we're considering, and you see there sort of the variances, the potential variances of the costs that might be involved in that. So all of that together comes up to a range of about $4.1 to $5.1 million for putting those modulars in place at both high schools. So I did want to address, of course, there's a long way to go for that, so that's a pretty big range, right? So what if costs exceed the $4.3 million that Council has indicated a willingness to approve? We do have funds that were already appropriated to the schools for capital projects in our capital that were already approved in our capital improvement plan back in May. That did include $1.5 million in contingency, because as we know, capital projects inevitably have things come up that you don't expect or you can't possibly plan for. So we would certainly use some of those funds if we needed to complete this project if total costs ended up being on that higher end and above the 4.3 being considered by City Council. And then an important question of how would we sustain these new resources in future years after they're implemented, that We are anticipating ongoing lease and maintenance costs of about 1.8 million per year for those new facilities. That's part of the reason we had originally asked for the full 8.3 that had been remaining on our capital fund, just to hopefully have 2 to 3 years of resources that we knew could allow us some time to get there. So that's why those amounts differed. But then we also would need to plan for staffing costs. So we're anticipating that would be an addition of about $1.5 million a year. Of course, not all of the additional classrooms that we are anticipating needing would require additional staff. A lot of the staff, as you may have seen in the news, already here. They're just on carts. They don't have a classroom to go to. So that would not require 100% additional staffing. So I'm going to step aside and let Mr. Perkins come to the podium and talk a little bit about the timeline.
Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, Superintendent, ladies and gentlemen, to cover this process. Unfortunately, we're going to have to go through an input process. That's an institutional planning unit district. Keep in mind that this is already zoned for educational use. That is a minimum 90-day process. We will have to work with our architects and engineers to develop programming and design concepts. In the event that the city chooses to expand our high schools, we don't want to put our trailers in a location that we would have to move because that's extra cost. So we'll go through the input process. Then we have to work through the commitment and procurement. If the city does approve this in January, our hope is that trailers are still available so that we can procure them fast and efficiently. Then we have a permitting phase we have to go through and final design. Right now, with as you've read in the news, with the shortage of staff in the city's department that handles permitting, we're expecting that to be a minimum of 90 days or at least 90 days to work through that, get the trailers in place. And then we're expecting with this and then talking with our principals that we're looking now at fall of '27 before students can be in those trailers. It's not the news we wanted, but we will work through it. And as Roanoke City Public Schools always does, we'll act in the best interest of our students regardless of what is thrown at us.
So in conclusion, just to kind of dot our i's and cross our t's to ensure that what we're moving forward with and requesting of City Council aligns with the intent of the school board, we would be asking for your approval to apply to the City of Roanoke for 24-25 year-end true-up funds in the amount of just under $2.2 million to be used towards implementing modular classrooms at both high schools, and that the combined reappropriation of that with the unspent capital fund balance be available for that purpose through the completion of the construction project, which is expected, as you just heard, to be a multi-year project. Just to sum up kind of how this fits together, we did receive communication, as Mrs. Apel said, from the mayor indicating that City Council has agreed to reappropriate that $4.3 million amount through those combined sources, and stated that council will officially take action on that on January 20th. So we just want to make sure that we are moving forward in a way that the school board approves. So I'm happy to take questions or comments before we move towards a vote.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Trigg or Ms. Watkins or Mr. Wade, any questions or comments on this side?
I'll hold my comments.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Lopez-Ortiz, or Mr. Lopez-Ortiz or Ms. Quintana? Oh, I got her.
I almost don't want to ask the question because I think I'm going to know the answer. And the question is not for you, it's actually for Mr. Perkins. You just stated that they are asking us to go through a process of zoning. Do we know why, if the area is already zoned for
Well,
schools?
the idea of planning unit districts is to maintain a consistency across the city. Even though this is educational use already, it has been indicated by city staff that we'll need to go through the input process and provide design concepts and programming and information on site location and site prep and things like that so they can approve it.
Thank you.
Dr. Jameson, any questions or comments from you?
No, no, I'll refrain from commenting at this time.
Thank you. And Vice Chair Cherry?
We have one here.
Chair.
Yes,
Mr.
Ms.
Perkins,
Trigg.
may I ask you a question? Do we even have space to think about, well, we definitely need the trailers, but then we have barely space to add on, so we actually need to have space for the trailers and possible add-on?
So yes, we've been asked to provide design concepts for a potential expansion. We've provided this board on multiple occasions the update from our feasibility study, as well as at least on 3 occasions with joint meetings with our city council on the need and the tightness that we have specifically at Patrick Henry. While we have a little more space here at William Fleming, Patrick Henry is already tight and congested. And so we have 3 sites. We'll do the expansion concept and we'll talk about where, because we definitely don't want to move trailers around if that is where the city takes us with the expansions. Our preference is for a 3rd high school. It's better for our students. There's all kinds of educational reasons for a 3rd high school. But we will do this. Like I said before, we'll do what's proper for our kids, and we'll make sure that we have the best site selection that's safe. And keep in mind, trailers are not, I mean, this is a stopgap, and trailers are not safe. And so we've got to do a lot of work and prep to go in to make these trailers as safe as possible. And we don't have a lot of space because athletics is going to be impacted potentially. Fine arts is going to be impacted potentially. We still don't have a cafeteria the proper size to have lunches. They're running from 10:30 in the morning to late in the afternoon. So we've got a lot of things to consider, and we don't know how long we'll be in there until we get a decision on whether it's an expansion. So while this is a stopgap, it's the best stopgap that we can do because we just don't have the infrastructure or buildings or programming to place students elsewhere. So while we can offset with Rotech, Daytech, North C. Taylor, Forest Park Academy, and Gov School, those are not consistent. They're not whole day programs. There's no guarantee that students stay at any of that programming. So this is the best option as a stopgap, but our preference is a 3rd high school.
And when we provide them that study in reference to the options, are we going to be able to really put bullet points to emphasize why adding on to either high school is an absolute horrible idea?
Oh, yes,
Like you
we've
said,
provided that multiple times. We've had site engineers in there list those out. We've brought in our academic team. Just talking to our principals alone, the academic reasons are immense on why 2,000 plus high schools are not conducive to the rigor of the education that we need to provide our students. Students or teachers on a cart. I mean, we have teachers that push a cart around because they don't have a classroom and they got to wait till one frees up during the planning period so they can have a class.
Or the teacher who said she had to leave early so she can avoid the traffic.
Avoid the traffic in the halls, absolutely. So, I mean, we've got a multitude of reasons that we have expressed, I think, multiple times. I hope, we get to a resolution because the longer we kick this can down the road, the longer our kids are going to be either in a tight high school or in a trailer.
Thank you. Dr. Jameson had noted a question or comment as well. So before you depart, Mr. Perkins, yes, Dr. Jameson?
Yes, and I'm sorry, I think my headache this evening has made me slower than usual. I had to hear this 3 times. So part of this zoning requirement they are indeed asking us to put in expansion possibilities on the designs we're submitting to them for modular requests?
Yes, because we've got to make sure, we don't want to move trailers around. And so if the city goes with an expansion, talking with our architects, a great team of architects and engineers, we need to provide some type of design concepts, programming also for the trailers, but we also need to provide design concepts so we can have a site that everybody can agree on, that we don't have to move the trailers around if indeed we have to expand.
Here's my question. I suppose. Thank you for that. But they don't decide whether we expand. They can choose through funding, and we're not asking for an expansion right now. What happens if we don't give them that information? I mean, we've been quite clear of what our preferences are. What if we never vote to expand? We simply say, well, if we can't have a third high school, we're not going to do it. I'm devil's advocating, but somebody should ask.
I am happy to serve at the pleasure of the board.
I mean, I'm curious about the repercussions if we don't provide that information at this point in time. I mean, do other entities applying for permits like this have to do this?
And that is why I ask, because I am not sure what is the purpose of it. There's no space, there's no end that we can expand it. There's no.
I mean,
I
do
believe
know
that
that there is expansion potential, right? I mean, they built it originally so those buildings could be expanded at the time. My guess is that their assumptions at that time are somewhat different than our assumptions are about what the academic expectations that we have for our buildings. But I'm just curious pragmatically, if we don't provide expansion requests, does that just mean they won't ever approve this and we'll never even get the modulars?
That's my question too, is that part of the requirement to even we have to get zoning approval for modulars before we can move forward with site prep and procurement?
Yes, we need to go through the input process and get an approval. It's a requirement, and we can't get around it, so we're going to work through that. I think the easy answer is if we, had some indication of the funding sources for what is available or what, our preference we've made clear, it would make this a much easier process for everyone.
I guess has it been made clear to our zoning colleagues that the decision about what happens on these sites ultimately rests with the school board? Now, we have to be in collaboration and we have to figure out the funding. We have to know these things, but the decision for expansion actually doesn't lie with the city. It lies with this body. So I'm curious how that intersects with zoning.
Well, we're blessed to have the former building official who's retired from the city of Roanoke, who works with us, who knows the zoning codes and processes like the back of his hand. He's maintained his credentials, and he's also on the building appeals board for the city of Roanoke. Now, of course, he couldn't sit in on a school appeal, but we're blessed to have him. Yes, we're going to go through the input process, unfortunately, and we'll provide this. It'll help us be prepared, and it's good to be prepared, so we will do what is necessary, and I will do what the pleasure of the board is.
Yeah, and I do know we need to get to the vote, but I just wanted to be clear. I wasn't going to say that, but just to be clear, we're voting for these modulars. However, it has always been at the forefront that we have recommended a third high school. And we've started with the option of looking into the Jefferson Center, which we did our homework like we were asked to do. And we found out it wasn't sustainable, it wasn't gonna work. And now we're here, we're gonna do it because we need the space. However, we're making it clear that modulars are an operational headache. All right, so I just wanted to make sure that we keep that in the forefront, that third high school, it may not happen today or tomorrow, but it does need to happen eventually. So I just wanted to make that clear. That's always been our recommendation. And right now, we're just doing the best we can for our students and our staff.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Cherry. Mr. Wade, you had a comment or question?
When you were talking about zoning, I got like to thinking about like how many students are in like neighboring, well, not in our district, but neighboring schools like Northside, Salem. Like how many students do they have? Because I have friends who go here and they live all the way in Salem, and I have friends who go here and they live in the North Side.
So we know that the county has schools that, they have 5 high schools, they range from about 900 to about 1,300. We have an influx into the school district, just like you're talking about, into our school district, that's very similar to what goes outside our school district. Our student enrollment has remained very steady. And while there are lots of predictions that we're going to go down, we haven't realized that yet. And even a prediction that I will update you on later, we're predicted to go down again. However, that could change daily. What we can account for is newcomers to our city, and that is not only new to our country, but new to our city. And what we can account for is who comes and leaves our city. So that makes it very difficult. That's why these are all projections. But what we do believe, even with a low, moderate, or high projection, our high schools will stay overcrowded in any one of those projected enrollment numbers. So you kind of got ahead there, but that's a great question because I'm going to go into a little more detail on that in a moment.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Ms. Watkins?
I know I said I would hold, but this one, I just want to go on record saying how disturbing this all is. Particularly the fact that once we get through this rigor of trying to get the modulars, I don't think we fully know how we're going to support keeping them. I'm really concerned because when I hear that we have 1.5 in capital fund that was a reserve, we know we won't have that in future years. So we have nothing to fall back on. We were asked by former council to create a fund balance. That was a request from them to prevent the situation that we are in right now. And as time goes on, immediately after this school year and all of what we had is depleted and returned to the city, we don't know where our source of funding is coming from for a lot of things. The strides that we have made in educating our students, we will go backwards. And that is extremely concerning to me, not just for our students, but for our community as a whole. If we were not responsible and have people like Kathleen and her team, and you and your team, and the faculty and their team, and administration and their teams, and all the people that work for us, doing the right thing with the students and families of our community in the forefront of their mind and woven into the fabric of our strategic plan and everything that we do and every decision that we make, down to who gets shingles on the roof first. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have gotten as far as we have gotten and made the progress that we have made. I fear for our future, our students' future, our families' future, and our community's future, because make no mistake, the folks that we spend time with, or you spend time with during the day, have families at home. They are the future of our community, or some community in this here world. And what we do with them and how we support them matters. And it will be impactful to everyone. So again, I am extremely concerned with how we're going to move forward financially. Sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Watkins. And I'll just make a couple more comments before we move on to our action item here. I do appreciate that you brought up the change in how the board works with its overall finances and in collaboration with the city, and with the return of the fund balance and the capital fund to the city. Before, in previous years, it was on the schools to use those funds responsibly and wisely. And as Dr. Jameson has pointed out, each year that she has been on the board, each year that I have been on the board, as we go through the budget development process, part of our budget dipped into what we colloquially refer to as our savings. So that would be the fund balance. And additionally, we would have a 10-year capital plan, which would have funding that was accounted for both by the $5 million in debt service through the city, but also our capital fund. And with the return of those things, that just means a change in how we do business. But part of that change means prior, we had to keep our own house in order, and we did not go and ask for appropriations from the city's funds for trailers or for other things, because that was something that we had to take care of. But now, when we talk about long-term budgetary planning that comes down to infrastructure of the magnitude to supplement 700 additional students just at one level of schooling, that requires collaboration and city-level vision for where we're going to go, so we know what funding source there will be to fund possible solutions. I did also want to note, yes, there were expansion plans when the high schools were built, but those were plans from back in 2008-9, correct? We now have 15 years of the reality of the schools as they are in the neighborhoods that they are. And we all know that there's plans and then there's the reality. And so we have a basis of how those schools have now interacted in those neighborhoods for a generation now, if you will. And that also influences our decisions with our recommendations as far as what the next step, what the board believes is the best step forward for our students, being a third high school potentially. But with all of that said, we thank everyone for all the legwork that we've been doing since joint fall meeting of 20, when Mayor Lee was still mayor. So when the idea of the Jefferson Center first came up, and I think we had our first feasibility study from Spectrum, I believe. So thank you to all of that legwork that has been done.
Yeah, that study was completed and provided to the board on August the 30th of 2024.
Got it. Yes. So with that said, is there a motion and a second to approve the recommendation for applying to the City of Roanoke for 2024-2025 year-end true-up funds in the amount of $2,186,491.88 to support the implementation of modular classroom units at Patrick Henry High School and William Fleming High School, and further that the combined reappropriated funds designated for this purpose remain available for use through the completion of the associated construction timeline?
Madam Chair, I move as stated.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Watkins, seconded by Mr. Cherry. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. And the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Jackson. Any additional update on the reappropriation request?
I really don't have much more to add because we talked so much about it related to this item. We wanted to keep it on the agenda because it was sort of a separate piece to what you just voted on. But we kind of covered it in talking about the true up, but certainly I'm happy to take any further comments or questions related to that before we move on. If there is any.
I would just note that, again, the original appropriation request made by the school board towards modulars was about $8.3 million, and that was in October. And the communication from council is that they're considering an appropriation request of $4.3 million, which is 1 year's worth of modular, procurement, operations, installation. So, okay.
Madam Chair, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
In your conversations with the mayor, have you gotten any indication that we are at the end of our ability to request appropriations in any amount for anything else for 2025 school year?
That has not been something we've discussed, but I would think that the school board votes on appropriation requests, and we would not approve something haphazardly. It would be something that is done with thought and with the interest of the students and staff of our division. And so should the need for an appropriation request arise that is appropriate and deemed appropriate by this board, then we will take it to the council regardless of the academic year in question.
Okay, thank you. Because there's this combination of true up and appropriation, there is a balance to appropriate the original requested appropriation amount. So I was curious to know if that balance is available for us to ask for something else in the future, or if you've gotten the impression in discussions that that's it, don't ask for any more. I'm giving you a combination of these two, and that's it. But you have not gotten that indication, or we haven't asked that question, right?
Not at this time, no.
Thank you.
I want to say one thing only, just to make the public clear. We have answered any questions City Council has had from us from the beginning. And I just want to make that very clear. We have done as much as we could on our end.
And to the community as well. I do think two hallmarks that I am proud to stand by for this division and for this administration is transparency and open communication. And, we do welcome questions. And as we said, we'll make sure that the most recent inquiries are responded to by January 15th as requested.
Thank you for leading this, Madam Chair. We appreciate that. This is tough. And you're handling it very well. You're representing us and the division very well as our chair.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the trust.
Thank you, Mrs. Jackson. And so now ask our Chief Operations Officer to come back to provide an update on solar panels. Mr. Perkins.
So hello again. On December the 24th, we received notice from the city that our final school in this phase had been approved. Speaking with our partners at Secure Solar Futures, they've had an impact of increased engineering and permitting costs due to some midstream changes in permitting for these. They also lost the opportunity of federal tax credits and a depreciation that they can't use for their 2025 corporate tax liability. That translates to increased cost to our investor to be carried over to 2026. And we are still working with the city on addressing the extra steps that we have been required to do. Unlike the first phase of the solar projects, we hope that we can get to a remedy with them, and we will work through an option of appeal to address this. We have the chief structural engineer from ICC who has been supportive of our efforts, and the presenter that city staff went to a program that has indicated it was a new building construction presentation, which also supports our belief that we stay with the Virginia existing building code. But the good news is our investors did not leave our partners at Solar Furniture or Solar Secure Futures, and we will move forward to the phases, hoping that we can tighten up this process and get back to what we were doing with the city prior to the midstream change.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Does the board have any further comments or questions regarding these solar projects in the phase that it is currently in?
No.
Okay. Dr. Jameson, just checking? Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Perkins.
All right, thank you, Mr. Perkins. And now, can you provide an overview of the outsourcing report?
While they're bringing up our presentation, every year I provide an update on services that are outsourced. Remember the city or the RCPS started outsourcing in 2009 and outsourced various things through about 2015. Good news is we're no longer outsourcing one of those things, so I'm going to go through the presentation and address the update for you. First, let's start with, and you also have a report. All right, slide change. You also have a report that you were provided to accompany this. Our food and nutrition, we do outsource this. Our partners at SFE were contracted on July the 1st. We have a great general manager, Chase Keister, that works very close with Ellen Craddock, our Director of Food and Nutrition. This is the most audited department in the division. It is audited from the feds, from the state, and locally. Our local auditor does conduct audits here. It's probably the most efficient and audited department that we have. They have 131 employees. They currently have 8 vacancies, which is unusual because this group has been very good at addressing this. And I have full expectation that they will. It has not impacted any services we have with those vacancies. Our year-to-date comparisons is that our food participation or meal participation has remained stable with less than a 1% change, which is and it shows us that we have consistent and steady student demand and consistent service. We paid last year $10,600,000, a little over that, for food and nutrition outsourcing. All right, school crossing guards is another outsourced service that we provide. We work with Ellis Enterprises, which runs Fender Guard services. They were the only bidder on this contract, just so you know. When the police department relinquished the control of this to the schools, it was outsourced. We contracted them initially in July 1st, 2011. They have 21 school crossing guard locations. They currently have 4 vacancies. Our school security officers and school resource officers fill in. And I cannot say enough about Lieutenant Palmer with the Roanoke City Sheriff's Office. A shout out to him. I see him directing traffic almost every day at Fishburne and James Madison. The sheriff has been tremendous in supporting the elementary schools for the school crossing guards. So kudos to them for helping us, and we're very appreciative. Last year, we paid a little over $208,000 for that service. All right. Student health services. Well, the good news is we don't outsource anymore. So last year, we worked with Carillion. We paid them a little over $2.5 million. Now and that contract ran from July 2011 through September 2025. Our HR department and our new director of student and occupational health, Jill Jeter, did a fantastic job putting a team together. We have no vacancies, we're happy to tell you. While we have had a little bit of turnover, that is expected, but fantastic work by them. We're very proud of that team, and they do a lot of good work across our schools. We are blessed that we are able to provide a nurse for every school, and we share at our programs, North C. Taylor and Forest Park Academy. So that's excellent work. Next, our substitutes. We work with ESS. Vaughn Fox is our regional operations manager. Melissa Hensley out of Human Resources works closely with that team. We contracted them on January the 1st, 2015. They have a total of 261 subs. Out of that 261, 46 are building-based substitutes that are there routinely, and 41 are long-term substitutes, meaning they are covering for a long-term absence for one of our staff. We paid them last year just over $4.1 million. The interesting thing here, I do want to point out, they do have less substitutes here, and we've had more requests. But if you have any questions about that, we have Mr. McKee here to address any of those, because that is in your report. They have a strong system of recruitment. They've got a lot of things in place, and then Mr. McKee can talk about some of the increased requests for substitutes. And then transportation. Now, I've stood up here many times and just kind of hugged my head, and y'all looked at me. My ears will get bright red, and you'd think, my goodness, Perkins, what's wrong with you? I don't have to do that anymore, so I'm going to start with first. We owe a great deal well, let's just say it. Without Walter Dowdy, we wouldn't have a 98% or on-time arrival rate. Walter Dowdy completely. You heard Ms. Crawley mention him too. He's very active. Walter Dowdy completely redid our schedule and routing for this district. We went from almost 11,000 bus stops to just over 2,000. His efficiency in looking at something and it looks like spaghetti thrown on a wall and saying, yeah, we can get a bus there, is amazing. Our partners at Zoom, they brought some great technology to help us with parent notifications. Their general manager here on the ground is Robbie Patro. We contracted with them on August 1st, 2024. They have no vacancies for bus drivers and no vacancies for bus aides. You might notice there that they did finally exceed Durham. Durham at their highest point was 139 in those tough years. They're at 142 right now. And we paid them a little over $14.4 million last year. And that is it. I will take any questions, or if you need Mr. McKee. Yeah. I'm mad at Mr. McKee. I just want to say that out loud. He's picked on me about the Packers.
Tonight.
Yeah. His Bears beat up on my Packers pretty bad, so.
Dr. Jameson, any questions or comments regarding the outsourcing report?
No, thank you. Good report.
All right, and our student representatives, any questions or comments? Okay, Ms. Quintana?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Ms. Trigg, Ms. Watkins?
I will give a little small praise. We had our first substitute bus driver come through, and I will say it was still on time. I was still tracking it. Now, he did almost miss the bus stop, but he circled back around and he got those kids. But I do appreciate it's a huge change, and it's a nightmare when you got little ones out there on the bus stop. And my son is like, where's the bus? Because he's tracking it too. I was like, coming around in a circle, it should be pulling up now. And he's like, oh, it's here. So yes, thank you for that.
Mr. Cherry?
Yeah, awesome report. I wanted to give, I know he's probably gonna shake his head again, but Mr. Dowdy, you are so humble. And you sit in the back almost every board meeting. And I just wanted to personally say thank you for all your hard work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're one of the reasons why Mr. Perkins can smile a little bit more. Thank you.
Amen.
I did have just one point of clarification, and this will be for Mr. McKee. If you could speak to the increase in numbers with ESS for us.
Thank you. Yeah, so we've had an increase in the absence request for our teachers and our IAs, about 688 increase from last year to this year. So what we're doing to combat that is to get together a teacher absenteeism task force to talk about recommendations that teachers want to see. And on that task force, we will see, we'll have administrators, assistant principal, we'll have teachers from each level, high school, middle school, elementary, and in particular focusing on those hard to fill positions in terms of certain schools. We'll also have a member of ESS on that staff as well. So we will meet with them and they'll come up with recommendations on what we can do to help improve our teacher and IA absenteeism rates.
Because if I recall from the report, I think the fill rate for teachers in the classroom was the same this year to last, like 88% or
Yes.
something like that. So, okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was it for me. All right.
Good. Thank you.
Did you guys know the Bears beat the Packers?
I
I'm
did.
sorry, Chris.
Did.
He just had to do it. He had to do it.
I'm glad the ombudsman is here, because I have a complaint for the ombudsman.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. And now, can you provide a quick boundary study update?
Yes, we working closely with our architects and engineers at RMM. They worked contracted with Future Think to help us with a boundary study. Even though we had a slight road bump with our data protection amendment for this group, they hit every milestone, even with that background. We have received their preliminary projections for the next 10 years. We also have the preliminary interactive map. We hope to provide the boundary committee. If you remember, this board approved us to go through a phased approach to boundary adjustments based on recommendations that we will run through the boundary committee and then, of course, bring to our community and phase that out over the next 3 to 5 years. I am excited that they're hitting every milestone that we've asked them to hit. So this has been a good experience. I think our boundary committee will have a good experience with this team. There'll be a lot of information for them to go over. And our projections, to give you a highlight, speaking to what our student representative asked me earlier, they provided high, low, and moderate projections. Our district, at a moderate projection, which is the one it's suggested we follow, will have a slight decrease. But what we can't account for is our newcomers to our city and the affordable housing plans of the city. If you want to see some of that opportunity, just drive out 460 and look at that. We're also lacking some single-family dwelling permits for new builds and multifamily dwelling permits. Looking at the last 10 years, we have through August so far, but when we get that, we believe it'll be the highest, just as what we're projecting in the last 10 years, so then we can provide some affordable housing. But the the newcomer issues to our city is going to be a little more difficult to predict. But we hope to bring you and stay on our track and our timeline with that. But good news from the team at Future Think. They're on it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else from the board? No. All right, and we'll be hearing from Mr. Perkins about this on a monthly basis, so, all right.
All right, thank you. And Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. White. Okay, and it's time for the financial forecast. Ms. Jackson, could you please present the financial forecast and appropriation report?
I will indeed. Hello again. Thank you. So we're reporting to you this month on our experience through the month of November. So we'll jump right in. Starting with our general fund, looking at revenues, our experience through November forecasts us, when we compare against the 3-year average of actual experience in the prior 3 years, to be about $2.2 million below budget. I will note, Mrs. Apel asked earlier that that does not include any adjustment at the state level at this point. Again, this is reporting through November, and we received that information in December, so I will be taking that into consideration when we're doing the next update, when we're reporting to you on December, to go ahead and factor that in and reflect that, and we will update this information as new information comes out from the state. So as those hopefully get better, projections of any changes that the General Assembly might do, we'll make sure we reflect that. So we're continuing to provide you as close as we possibly can projections for where we might end this current year. So down a bit on the revenue side thus far. Fortunately, down a bit also, and to a greater margin on the expenditure side. Based on our experience through November, we are forecast to be about $4.6 million below budget on the expenditure side. So that is certainly favorable, though a very small margin. That's only about 1.7% below budget on our expenditure budget thus far. And when we take that variance that we're looking at on the revenue side into consideration, we're less than 1%. So a small margin, but we'll certainly keep track of that. And as I said, update this to take the budget as we know it so far from the state level into consideration going forward. So we'll keep you informed on that. So we do like to look at where are we in terms of what we were appropriated for the operating fund. That appropriation was $275. So we are well below that. So we are not in danger of going above that appropriation. But again, we need to not only stay within that appropriation amount, we need to make sure we stay within budget. So, so that's why we look at kind of both of those things to make sure we're in an appropriate range, which we are. Okay, I'm going to move on to the food services fund. The revenue, that side is forecast to be about 120,000 above budget based on our experience thus far through the month of November. So looking good there. And I know you probably remember we had some ups and downs in that area, but we have righted the ship. We had some questions, so we had refrained from paying our bill for our contracted services. That was resolved. So you see here that looks much more in line with budget in this month. So we are forecast to be about 255,000 below budget on the food services fund expenditure side. So we look at our appropriation there. We're approved for appropriation of $13.5 million in that fund. So we are safely within that limit. So that's positive. Forecast to be about 700,000 below that level at this point. And then we do also look at our fund balance in this fund because we are required to keep those funds and only use them for food service purposes. So we did budget to use about 730,000 out of that. So based on our experience thus far, that's tracking favorably, we would only use about 350,000 out of that based on our experience at this point. So that is positive movement there. And then lastly, we look at our capital fund. Of course, we've talked about it a bit tonight already, but the city did reappropriate almost 9 million for capital projects that were in process or approved in our capital improvement plan. So you see here that we spent almost 10 million of that last fiscal year, about 600,000 so far this year. So that leaves the unspent portion of that at just under 7.5 million currently. Did want to note, we've talked about it a lot tonight already, but just as a reminder that those are spoken for projects that are ongoing. The majority at this point of that is tied up with the Preston Park Elementary new build, which is ongoing. So just a reminder about what that is intended for. And that is what we have for you. So I will end there and take any questions.
Dr. Jameson, any questions?
No questions. Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
All right. Ms. Quintana or Mr. Lopez Ortiz, any questions on this side of the table?
No, ma'am, thank you.
All right, and this side, Mr. Wade, Ms. Trigg, Ms. Watkins,
No questions. Thank you.
Vice Chair. Thank you, as always, for all of the information, Ms. Jackson. No questions for me. Okay. And let's look at the financial statements. Ms. Jackson, is there anything unusual to report this month?
Yeah, I don't have anything further to add. I mean, of course, the financial statements provide a little bit more detail to what we just went through at a very high level, but I'm certainly happy to take questions if you have anything specific that you wanted to ask about.
I think we're good, so thank you very much. The statements will be received and filed.
Thank you.
Okay, on to reports from committees. So we'll just go ahead and we'll go down the line. So Ms. Quintana, any committees to report from?
No, ma'am, everybody took a break for the holidays.
And on this side, Ms. Trigg?
I have the curriculum committee meeting notes from December 10th. We met at 4 p.m. The committee reviewed follow-up items from the previous meeting and discussed upcoming learning walk schedules, as well as elementary daily instructional schedules with a focus on instructional time and recess considerations. These items prompt discussion around alignment, consistency, and ensuring adequate instructional and wellness balance across schools. Additional discussion topics included end of the semester updates, followed by accountability updates and follow-up questions from the December school board meeting. Pre-K and kindergarten readiness and the enrollment campaign were shared with the committee, including a sample February family calendar to support outreach efforts. The committee also discussed the registration timeline for the 2026-2027 school year and reviewed updates to the program of studies with emphasis on clear communication to families and alignment with division priorities. And I also have our legislative priority committee report. Just want to provide a brief update from the Policy Governance and Legislative Committee. The 2026 General Assembly session begins tomorrow, January 14th, and although many bills are still being added, Roanoke City Schools have positive news coming out of Richmond. Delegate Rasul and Senator Sutherland are each carrying 3 bills that come directly from our RCPS legislative priorities. HB 199 and SB 16 extending alternatives to through year growth assessments. HB 275 and SB 10 expanding apprenticeships for students 16 and older. And HB 332 and SB 203 create a 3-year CTE and dual enrollment teacher license. Having bipartisan patrons carrying identical bills in both chambers put RCPS in a very strong position. We also continue to support the city's local option sales tax bill patroned by Delegate Rasul. RCPS will also closely monitor the state budget to advocate for the resource necessary to serve our students and compensate our staff. We are pleased to learn in late December that the governor's budget included 2 more years of funding for community builders, and we will advocate for that remaining funding in both the House and Senate budgets. If you have any questions or concerns regarding legislation, as hundreds of education-related bills work their way through the General Assembly, Dr. White serves as Legislative Chair for Region 6, and Dr. Siebert will be in Richmond most weeks. They will have rapid access to policymakers and will be happy to assist.
Thank you, Ms. Trigg. Thank you. And Ms. Watkins, any committee reports? Okay, Mr. Cherry, did you have any?
No, I think we talked about Lucy Addison, that event we had at the Community Empowerment Center. It was windy, it was cold, but it was a great event, good to make more history in our community. So I just wanted to point that out.
Wonderful, thank you. And the Technology Committee did meet back on December 18th. And we discussed a number of things, including one-to-one devices and AI and what trainings are helpful for our staff and the role of AI. And we're all encouraged to check out RCPS's AI Hub. And there's an AI ambassador group that's already meeting, and eventually would love to have an ambassador at every school. They're always looking at tech concerns as far as equity, access, and connectivity go, and things like that. And also, there was a cybersecurity quarterly report for review. And of course, I think we recognized it at the last meeting, but we're one of 3 divisions in Virginia with the data security COSIN seal. So I can say that one more time. So good job, technology. Okay, and I believe that is it for reports from committees at this time. On to ongoing business. Is there any ongoing business for members to share? I do want to note, especially with Dr. Siebert's information included about the various legislation that's coming through the PG&L committee report, that with the legislative session kicking off, some of our members will be attending the VSBA Capital Conference later in January, which will happen right at the next board meeting. But additionally, that every Friday from this week forward through the legislative session are VSBA's Fridays from Richmond. It's usually an hour-long Zoom on every House bill and Senate bill that's being brought in committee that could potentially affect education. So I encourage you all to listen if you so choose. But that's something that will be ongoing for the next couple months. And for reminders, we have several reminders for the upcoming months. Please note that the January 27th workshop will begin at 6:30 p.m. Rather than the usual start time. This is adjusted This adjusted schedule accounts for board members and the superintendent traveling back from Richmond following the VSBA Capital Conference, and we didn't want to worry about having quorum at the time of a 5:30 meeting, so we pushed it back a little bit. So there's a workshop on January 27th. And then we also have, it's listed here, our future meetings, but we'll also have our school board retreat later in February as well. Next, we have a closed meeting tonight. Do we have a motion for the closed meeting?
I move that the board convene a closed meeting, one, to discuss specific officers, appointees, or employees for the purpose of considering such person's assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salary, disciplining, or resignation pursuant to 2.2-3711A1. And two, to consult with legal counsel and receive briefings by staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation, where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body pursuant to 2.2-3711A7 of the Code of Virginia.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Quintana. Is there any discussion? Ms. Tresky, please call the roll.
Mr. Cherry,
Yes.
Miss Quintana,
Yes.
Miss Trigg,
Yes.
Mrs. Watkins,
Yes.
Mrs. Apel.
Yes. Did you?
Ms. Jameson, Dr. Jameson.
Oh, Dr.
Yes.
Jackson.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now, the board will now enter into closed session to discuss only items within the approved motion. No other board business or decisions will be conducted